while I visited Mexico.
Wearing a red MAGA hat last night on television. Please let...
Drag queens, we have brown people, we have black.
We're talking about a lot of different things. Consumer prices have actually dropped. There's very little inflation. Everybody predicted a lot of inflation, very little inflation. Energy costs are down. Interest rates are probably down. They scatter, but they're probably down. Prescription drug prices are even to down. We're doing very well. It's been amazing. We had a big day yesterday. There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very, very happy with the way the country's running. We're trying to get the world to treat us fairly. This is something that should have been done 25 years ago, and it wasn't. Should have been done 40 years ago, and it wasn't. But no president was willing to take it on, but you had to. It's not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable. And, as you know, without a lot of money being added, this is a lot of money that we could add, the country is making approximately $2 billion a day. And when you think of it, we've never done that before, never come close to it. And the number is probably $3.5 billion a day.
Love light, love light.
Texas is a very strong country.
Yeah, I started the live early so that way I can get it out the way.
Scott here,
So that way I can game with
some of the people that
Nasir
are
later on.
deals. And the biggest problem they have is they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody wants to come and make a deal. And we're working with a lot of different countries. And it's all going to work out very well. I think it's going to work out really very well. But we're in good shape. There's no inflation. There's very little inflation. And I went 4 years without inflation, and I tariffed. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. We're doing again what we should have done many years ago. We let it get out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen. It's not a sustainable formula. So I wanted to just thank everybody at the table, and maybe I'll go around and ask some of you a little short couple of answers. Pete just got back from Panama, and he's been all over the place, and you want to give us a little report on that and whatever else you might have to say. Everyone at this table is doing an incredible job, by the way, I have to say. Incredible. And the relationships are, it's like they're friends. They're really, the relationships are very strong, really good, really strong. And these meetings are very good. And I think, I don't believe there's any other president that allowed the press to come into a meeting such as this. These are very sacred meetings. These are very private meetings. But we have nothing to hide. And I think it's good. I think it's a good, we want to be, a word you like to use, Jeff, is transparent. So we want to be transparent, and we'll do that by starting with Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Yes, Mr. President, we just got back from Panama last night. We were at the Panama Canal with their SOUTHCOM commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals. One which is with the Panama Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal.
Now make sure y'all like the screen, like it up, like it up.
With their
Like
security minister for the presence of U.S. troops. Fort Sherman is an old U.S. base there, as well as a naval station and air station, jointly with Panama, to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we had a very successful trip there. President Molino sends his regards, very complimentary of the U.S. as he's a great ally, and I think they want the Communist Chinese out. And with our troops there partnering with their forces, we've got a chance to push them all the way out, sir.
We've moved a lot of troops to Panama and filled up some areas that we used to have. We didn't have any longer, but we have them now. And I think it's in very good control, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Very good. Howard?
So, so we've have so many countries to talk to. It is, it's incredible. I think Scott and I, I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now. And they have come with offers that they never, ever, ever would have come with, but for the moves that the president has made, demanding that people treat the United States with respect. We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals, one after the other. And then I'm very excited that within a week and a half, we're going to start with the gold card, and the Trump card is coming out, and we're very excited about that, and that's coming soon. So very excited.
Thank you very much. Good job. Linda?
Well, on a couple of fronts, we have been addressing the issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. There's been some grant funding and contract funding that we've reviewed, and some canceled and some we've put on hold, waiting for that, while we do an investigation. On the other side of what my responsibilities are in having education go back to the states, we're meeting and talking with governors. I was with, this week, all 50 commissioners of education around the country, and because we also want to provide them with tools and best practices as education does move back to the states. Making great progress, great response from the states, and very positive.
And what about colleges? You're holding back $400 million from Columbia, $8 billion from Harvard. Can you imagine the money we pay Harvard? They have a $60 billion fund, and we're giving them $8 billion. And we're trying to figure that out. And then they hire de Blasio, the worst mayor of the history of New York, and they hire the woman from Chicago who was a disaster, total disaster, and they pay them massive salaries, and they're supposed to be teaching you government. That's not Harvard. That's not Harvard the way it used to be. So, do you have anything to say about that? The dollars you're holding back from quite a few universities that were not behaving.
Yeah, and the other, with the Princeton, Cornell, others that are coming in, and actually getting calls now from the presidents of the universities who really do want to come in and sit down and have discussions. And so we're investigating them, but in the meantime, we're holding back the grant and the fund money.
Great job. Thank you.
Very thankful for the House voting for the president's budget resolution along with the Senate bill. Made a ton of progress this week in working with members to ensure that a desire for flexibility in the Senate was not misconstrued as a desire not to slow and do spending reforms. And so we're very thankful for that. And now we can get after writing that bill, getting the president as big a package of his agenda to his desk. So very good week.
So we just got the House vote, and now we're well on our way to getting, as we call it, the great big beautiful bill. It's a beauty. There's never been a bill like this one. We're trying to get it all into one beautiful bill. It's tax cuts, regulation cuts, and many other things. The border, a lot of money for the border. Where you're doing a fantastic job. So, but we just got a report that we, as you know, you knew before us. We were surprised we got the vote, and we're happy to get the vote. So I think we're going to be in very good shape. Okay, please.
Mr. President, last year the Chinese received 1,700 orders for new ships. American shipyards received 5. Under your leadership, like so many other industries, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again. These blue-collar jobs, these are the cranes, the ports, opportunity zones, and drive that investment back in. We have Under that executive order, and also one to streamline foreign military sales for people that want to buy our equipment, and of course acquisition reform, all just this week under your leadership, Mr. President.
So we're going to be rebuilding our shipbuilding business. We may order, would have to go to Congress for this, but we may buy some ships from other countries that we're close to and that do great jobs with ships. But we're going to start the process of rebuilding. We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. It's going to be a very big business for us in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, we have countries that do very well at building ships, and we'll be dealing with those countries, and we may be ordering top-of-the-line ships from those countries. And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be building our own ships. So we'll probably have to go to Congress for that, but we're not going to have a problem. Susie, thank you very much for the job you've done. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to make sure you know that this cabinet, I think, pretty uniquely collaborates and cooperates and works together to accomplish all that you've asked them to do, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Good. You're doing a great job. The chief of staff, doing a great job. Lee, go ahead.
Mr. President, the Biden EPA was strangulating the economy. The Trump EPA understands it's not a binary choice. We can protect the environment and grow the economy. Working with Doge and Elon Musk, we've now canceled $22 billion worth of grants, and we have launched what is the largest deregulatory action in the history of the country, just in one agency. That's how much of a mess the Biden EPA left us. It is going to end up reducing the cost of living. It's going to create jobs. It's going to make it easier to purchase a car. It will be easier to heat your home. We're proud of this effort. The effort that we have is fulfilling the mandate that you earned from the American public. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans, unleashing energy dominance, permitting reform, advancing cooperative federalism, making America the AI capital of the world, and bringing back American auto jobs. When you called me that day asking for me to take this position, I was honored. And you were very specific and clear in what you wanted us to accomplish. We understand our mission, and at the Trump EPA, we're going to make you proud.
Great job. You're doing a great job. And you have a lot of applications for approvals for power plants, which are going to really power the regular plants, and they're going to be right next to each other because we can't rely on our grid. It's old and it's tired, and it's very subject to being attacked, whether by rain or by bombs or by anything else. And we're letting people build their own power plants, and these are a lot of them being built with the AI and beyond the AI chips, and we're letting them build their own power, and never been done before. We're going to get it done quickly and approved quickly as part of a plant. They'll have a sort of be their own power company, and it's very exciting. They couldn't believe it when I told them that. I said, we're going to get you the approvals very fast as part of your regular plant. You're going to build electric producing plants, and it's very exciting. And they're able to do it very quickly and very well. And you made it possible. Thank you. You have a lot of applications for some of the biggest plants that have ever been built in the world. These are serious plans, aren't they? Huh?
Approved. We're open for business. Working with Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, we are going to make it proud.
Good. Sean?
First off, Mr. President, it's Brooke's birthday today, so she's getting younger, so happy birthday to Brooke. I want to thank you as well for the shipbuilding at EO. Again, to build ships, you also need mariners to sail those ships. I was just up at Kings Point for the Merchant Marine Academy a couple days ago, and we have some of the greatest young men and women who are learning how to be mechanical engineers to rebuild and fix the engines on those ships, but also how to sail ships. I would tell you that over the past decades, this academy has become, it needs some love. It's been a little bit dilapidated. We have to invest in sailors, and I appreciate you taking the initiative. To be a global power, we have to build ships and have sailors to sail those ships. These are the very people that help Pete should we come into points of crisis to support the military. So thank you for that. Number two, the last administration announced 3,200 projects big, beautiful roads and bridges. Most of them are good. But they announced that they didn't sign a grant agreement. 3,200, so the money doesn't go out the door to build the infrastructure in the country. And it's fun to do an announcement. It's actually the harder work to put together these grant agreements. So we're doing the work right now at DOT to get these grant agreements done and build the projects. Most of them are good. And they also put in all of this green and social justice requirements on roads and bridges. We're pulling all that out and putting the money toward the infrastructure, not the social movement from the last administration.
Good steel, right, as opposed to green paper mache. Good, thanks, great job.
So first, we are, I would say, more than friends. We've all become family, and I think that what you have assembled in your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history. And so just being a part of that is the greatest honor. So thank you for that. And again, just the relationships here and the honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership. So I just want to say that first. The second thing I want to say is that on behalf of the farmers and ranchers, food security is national security. We have to be able to ensure that we are putting forward and putting America first. No one understands that better than our farmers and our ranchers. But having said that, emerging from 4 years of Biden with a 30% increase in inputs for our farmers and ranchers, with an almost $50 billion trade deficit. When we left the first time, it was zero, meaning that they are hurting. So the period of uncertainty we're in, they know that your vision will move us into an age of prosperity for all Americans, but for my people, for the farmers and ranchers, unlike any they have seen before. And I think they are really, really excited and so grateful for your leadership. But also, you have never failed to say that you have the backs of our farmers and our ranchers. It was the first phone call that I had after I was voted with the Senate, and that message just resonates with almost an 85% support of you in the last election. They're with you. Interestingly, the biggest budget driver at the United States Department of Agriculture is not farming and ranching or agriculture, it's food stamps. And so as we emerge and embark, Secretary Kennedy and I, on your vision of making America healthy again, a massive part of that is realigning and reworking our food stamp program so that it better serves those who need it. And yeah, to the point of getting the transgender, DEI, Green New Deal out of the USDA and realigning is really important. So, thank you.
Is it 100% out, would you say?
99.9, sir. I'm going to get that last point.
Get the rest of it out.
But thank you, sir.
We've got a much different military.
That's bull crap right there.
And eggs are down.
That's bull crap.
Big.
I don't know if y'all really heard.
Easter is the Super Bowl for eggs.
I don't even know if y'all really just heard what she just said. She tried to say, now y'all remember all them farmers that was burning, crops and, you know what I'm saying? The egg prices being higher up, shrimp being radioactive and shit. That shit ain't got nothing to do with no damn food stamps. All the food that got recalled, everything like that, that shit ain't got nothing to do with no damn food stamps. For her to sit there and be like, oh yeah, food stamps is the leading problem to majority of this stuff, and once we cut back on the food stamps, we're going to have all this other stuff figured out, because once we do away with the food stamps, it's going to be a knick-knack, paddywhack, and we're going to hushy-tushy, quack-quack. No, hell no, it ain't food stamps.
So, there may be a
food stamps ain't the problem.
Thank you.
That's what I hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. I would echo what Howard said on the trade queue, that we've got over 75 countries that want to come in. So it'll be Treasury, Commerce, Jameson at USTR, and we're putting a process in place. And as you said, you're going to be part of the negotiations too. Because I had these countries call me up, and Secretary Bessem, we're happy you're going to be negotiating. Well, President Trump's going to be involved too. So, bring your best deal on the budget. It's moving quickly in the House and the Senate, thanks to your leadership. We're also going to have debt ceiling in there, so we're going to get an increase in the debt ceiling. And that will be the done and dusted for
Part of the bill that we just got to vote on today. So
part of the bill. It'll be done and dusted for 2 years. We won't have to worry about that. And then I gave a speech yesterday to 1,400 small and community bankers, and they were so happy to hear from your administration. And I told them Wall Street's done great for the past 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. It can continue doing great, but it's Main Street's turn now, and it's those small bankers through deregulation, through emphasis on Main Street, your Main Street agenda, bringing back jobs, that is going to power the smaller communities. And then finally, the bond auction went very well yesterday. We had a lot of foreigners show up as the support, showing that the U.S. is still the best place to invest. The inflation report, as you said, was quite good. And energy prices are down more than 20% since January 20th.
Amazing.
that's great. Very good numbers.
Great number.
Thank you.
President, we've had some great wins in the last few days. That you were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. The U.S. Americans want you to be president because of your agenda. And the courts are ruling that you have the authority to determine how the money of this country will be spent. That's what the American citizens wanted, and that's what they're getting. An example of that Friday was the Department of Education, that you can determine how the money will be spent, no more DEI. And that impacts every agency across the board. On the civil side again, NLRB. We had a big win in the Supreme Court there. OPM, a big win there. But also 16,000 workers there. But also on the criminal side, the Alien Enemies Act. We are winning there. And your directive to me was to keep America safe, and that's what we're doing. Whether it's the alien enemies, all of these gangs, and they are enemies of our country. They are terrorists, they are organized crime, they have come here, they are extremely organized, they are spread throughout our country, and they are creating terror. And no more under your directive. And that is stopped. Yesterday in South Florida, we charged the 11 defendants with $500 million of pure cocaine coming into our country to kill our kids. They were caught. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These gang members are going back to where they came, or they're going to an El Salvador prison at your directive. And you also gave us a directive to prosecute the people who are going after Tesla to the fullest extent of the law. Some of the greatest police work I've seen. We've made 4 arrests. There will be no negotiations at your directive. They're all looking at 20 years in prison, and within the next 24 hours, you're going to be seeing another huge arrest on a Tesla. Our enemies of our country.
So hold on. One's in the chat. Y'all gonna act like she didn't just scream out the most racist thing ever, right? She didn't just scream out, they are going back to their country. Was she not just about to scream out they going back to their country? Did she not just scream that out? Yeah, all these gang members, they are going back. Go back to your country. Ain't that the most racist shit? Like, ain't that the hot? Like, come on, y'all gonna act like y'all gonna skip over that shit? Like she didn't just say that shit? Huh? Hold on, let me let y'all hear it again. I'm gonna let y'all hear it again. Hold on.
They are terrorists, they are organized crime, they have come here, they are extremely organized, they are spread throughout our country, and they are creating terror. And no more under your directive. And that is stopped. Yesterday in South Florida, we charged the 11 defendants with $500 million of pure cocaine coming into our country to kill our kids. They were caught. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These gang members are going back to where they came, or they're going to an El Salvador prison at your directive.
Back to where they came,
And you also gave us a directive to prosecute the people who are going after Tesla to the fullest extent of the law. Some of the greatest police work I've seen. We've made 4 arrests. There will be no negotiations at your directive. They're all looking at 20 years in prison, and within the next 24 hours, you're going to be seeing another huge arrest on a Tesla dealership, President. And that person will be looking at least 20 years in prison with no negotiations.
That's great. That will stop it. Cold. Thanks. Done a great job, too. Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, accountability matters. That's what we're recognizing. With our partners at the Department of Labor for Government Efficiency, just a few weeks ago, we realized there's about $4.4 billion in COVID funds that were not used, that the state coffers were just holding on to. Out of that, we've returned $1.4 billion back to the state treasury, so essentially to the American people, and we'll go back and claw the rest of those billions of dollars back. And on the heels of that, late last night, we're understanding unemployment insurance fraud. That trust needs to be whole for the American people. When we need it for who deserves it. That's not what we're seeing in the numbers we saw last night, again, exposed by our partners at DOGE at the Department of Labor. Since 2020, over $400 million of payments have gone out already. And when you hear these numbers, apparently in the United States, we have over almost 25,000 people who are over 115 years old, who are collecting $59 million that we have sent out to people. Talk about fraudulent behavior. Mr. President, 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments at the tune of $254 million has gone out. And lastly, 10,000 people who have not been born yet, 15 years into the future, $69 million, and they haven't even been born yet. In one case, they will be born 129 years from now. The United States government sent them $41,000, and they're not born yet. So, under the Department of Labor, those are the things that we're uncovering. I couldn't be more honored to tell the American people that we're bringing back their dollars and we're saving them and returning them to the United States Treasury. Also, jobs numbers. Last Friday, 228,000 new jobs were reported. That is good for the American people. That is my primary job, is to grow that workforce under your leadership. So we've kicked off the America at Work tour, and we'll be visiting all 50 states, and I'll be working with my colleagues here to do just that. So thank you, Mr. President. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to keep our focus on the American worker.
So you're finding tremendous growth, though. Those numbers are really bad.
Unheard of.
Over 115 years old, and I think you had mentioned the oldest person in our country is 114 years old. That's pretty good.
A woman living in Pennsylvania, but apparently there's 24,000 more of them that are 115 or older. That
I hope you hear that. So we have 24,000 older than the oldest person.
Definitely dead.
And what are we doing about that? How do we get that money back?
Yeah, so we're working with our IGs to do that further investigation. The House and Senate, we had a 5-year statute of limitations. We've got an extension on that, another 5 years. And so the goal, in my opinion, we should never have a statute of limitations to return the American dollars back to the Treasury when there's fraud. But at this point, we will continue to work hard and double down and return those dollars to the Treasury.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Christy?
Well, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership at the border. For the second month in a row, you have broken the record in the history of the nation for the lowest number of encounters at the border, which is absolutely remarkable. You have said that America's laws matter and that they'll be enforced, and we're hard at work now to get people to go back home that are here illegally. So the Alien Registration Act has been in place long enough now that those individuals that are here illegally, if they haven't registered, then they can be charged criminally, and they can face fines up to $1,000 a day and face deportation if they don't go home, and they'll never get the chance to come back to America. So we're encouraging people to use the CBP Home app to register, and we're working on the resources and funding to buy them a plane ticket to send them home. I went to El Salvador, Colombia, and Mexico, and those countries and others are thinking about setting up programs to support these individuals when they get back to their countries. So when they get there, they'll have housing and food assistance, and so making sure that these folks have the opportunity to go home so that they can get the chance to come back to America is important.
So it's a very big self-deport operation that we're starting.
Thousands of people have already self-deported. Well, we're just going to, we had 21 million people that need to go home because they're here breaking our laws, then we need to facilitate that. And I've been working with the governors a lot lately on several different issues. One of them has been on FEMA for recommendations on how to do exactly what you've directed us to do. And then also I sent a letter and communicated with them that they need to be setting up a SCIF. some of our governors don't have secure facilities to have national security issues. I think one of the jobs Homeland Security has is to give communication down to states, to local cities and communities. And so recommending they get a SCIF, they have secure comms with them at all times or nearby so that they can have national security conversations, and then to have somebody in their office designated that is their communications person. A lot of them have emergency management officers, but they don't necessarily have somebody designated when it comes to a national security issue that we may need to communicate with them on. And I think American people need to know that Real ID will be required to travel on May 7th. So those governors have been notified to communicate that at home. We don't want anybody to get delayed and not be able to travel when they get to an airport. And this will also help us bring integrity back to all of our IDs and how they're used for issuing driver's licenses. And governors know how I feel about making sure their driver's licensing system has integrity, because a lot of people use their driver's license to vote. And the backbone of our country and the foundation is election integrity. So we're giving all those directions to our governors and communicating that so they can lead on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
A chance to come back.
So it gives you real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, and we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a process, a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers at hotels and various places where where they need the people. And we're going to be working with you very carefully on that. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them. And then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out, they're going to come back as legal workers. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Which I think will be, I think it's very important to do. Okay, thank you very much. Great job. Jameson, I watched you testify for the last couple of days. You were on every night at 3 o'clock in the morning. You did great. You did fantastic. Thank you very much.
This is what I like to do for fun, sir. You've been keeping us very busy. Last week, you started a reordering of international trade, something that hasn't happened for 80 years, something that should have happened decades ago. And you know that. You've known that for a long time. That's why you have us all working on this. You came into an emergency situation where President Biden left us with a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. It's the largest of any country in human history. The largest. So you declared an emergency, you took action.
You said the largest in history, right?
In history.
There's never been anything like what he left us. He left us a mess. His whole administration was a mess. So go ahead.
So you declared an emergency, you imposed a trade action, so now you have a tariff on the world, it promotes U.S. manufacturing, it protects U.S. workers, and you've also given room for negotiation during this time so we can open export markets for our farmers and other producers and American workers. And this is why the unions vote for you, this is why the workers vote for you, this is why the families want you to be the president, because you're standing up for American workers and American communities. We've had countries come in over the past couple of weeks that represent more than half of global domestic GDP, more than half. That's who's coming in to talk to you and to your advisors about how to have reciprocal trade, how to have fair trade. Wouldn't have happened without you.
Thank you very much. Great job. Lovely.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And I mean, and some of it is just absurd, like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether, I mean, come on, that's just crazy. Yeah, some of these things, people ask me like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. it's as the military would say, talking
he laughed. The reason why he actually laughed is because they the ones that's doing that shit. They the ones that's getting the money with people that ain't been born yet and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? They the ones that's doing all of that. They the ones that knows the loops and the ins and outs. That's why the one lady said we got to make sure the right people getting this, right? Because they're the ones. It's government officials that's getting millions, like thousands of dollars on government funds. They walking around with EBT cards with $15,000 on there, never worrying about buying food or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Because they know the loopholes, the ins and outs. So actually, they're benefiting from this. The tax cuts, all of that stuff.
So I think we're doing
They know about all
a
of
lot
that.
of good and excellent collaboration with the cabinet to achieve these savings. And it will actually result in better services for the American people, and that we're going to be spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and fair and good.
And your people are fantastic. In fact, hopefully they'll stay around for the long haul. We'd like to keep as many as we can. They're great, smart, sharp, right? Finding things that nobody would have thought of. Very computer savvy.
Yes. We're working hard to get the Trump Gold Card operational, hopefully in the next week or so.
That'll be very exciting.
Really exciting.
That's a pathway to citizenship into the United States.
It's a big deal.
Yep, it's a big deal. Thank you very much. Great job you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to your leadership and setting the mandate of transparency and accountability across the U.S. government. I'm bringing that transparency and accountability to the intelligence community, first and foremost, to make sure that you and your cabinet have that real-time, relevant, apolitical, objective intelligence to best inform whether it's negotiations for peace, negotiations around tariffs, the great work that you are leading around the cabinet today. Secondly, working with Department of Homeland Security and the FBI to increase our information sharing to achieve your goal of countering the narcotic trafficking and our ability to go after cartels now designated as foreign terrorists. I met with the National Sheriff's Association this week, being able to work to make sure that the information that they are getting on the ground, that local law enforcement is getting on the ground, is being fed back up through to our National Counterterrorism Center, and that we have all of the federal agencies, state and local law enforcement all on the same page as we are working to make our country safe again. And lastly, sir, as you know, declassification and rooting out weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community is a huge priority. You know more than anyone else the very dangerous and negative consequences of that. I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
That's great. Bobby, how do you feel about that? That's
very gratified.
That's hitting close to home, isn't it? When you think, I'm thinking about Bobby when that statement's made.
I'm very grateful to you, Mr. President.
And you'll let Bobby see some of this because, you know, it's very personal stuff. But it's time.
I've asked him, and his response is, put it out. The world needs to know the truth.
And his uncle that's been out, and anything that hasn't been out, they can go to your offices and see. Right?
Everything that we have within our possession, it's either online or it's physically at the National Archives and Records Agency. We also have hunters going out, Mr. President, and looking in the storage lockers at FBI and CIA and other agencies, specifically to find if there is anything else that has not been reported. We're actively going out and trying to search out the truth.
Okay. Yeah, we want to get it all out.
Yes.
100%. Good. Thank you very much. Good job, Bill.
Mr. President, on behalf of America's manufacturers, I want to thank you for standing up to the Chinese Communist Party and fighting for our main streets, for our workers, and for those that make things in America. I'm out on a Made in America manufacturing tour, and as I go across the country, people are grateful to have a president who's not just fighting on the tariffs fronts, but to get inflation down, to create jobs. After Biden destroyed 110,000 manufacturing jobs in just his last year, you've already brought back thousands and thousands of manufacturing jobs. So the American worker is grateful. Main Street is grateful for you. And at the agency level, we're making sure that manufacturers have access to the capital they need, but we can't do that if we're not fighting fraud. So we've modified our loan applications to have citizenship verification, to make sure we have birthdays, common sense principles around lending that the Biden administration had waived. They waived $450 million of fees in 1 year. We're restoring that for the American taxpayer. And the American taxpayer, as tax day approaches, April 15th, they need to know that this cabinet, this administration, and thank you Elon Musk and Doge for fighting for the American taxpayer to make sure that their hard-earned dollars are well spent, that they have a return on investment for this country, and that we're fighting for them just as you are every single day. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we are working at HHS to advance your agenda to make America healthy again. I'm working with Lee Zeldin to reassess the fluoride rules based upon the August release by the National Toxicity Program of new science that shows a direct inverse correlation between exposure to fluoride and IQ loss, particularly in children. Lee and I were in Utah this week.
Now, how long has fluoride been in our toothpaste? How long has fluoride been in our toothpaste? Nobody even knows that fluoride is a problem for their youth. We done became so accustomed to using it, it's a shocker that anybody even recognized that he said anything about fluoride just now. Fluoride started off as a waste product, and they didn't know what to do with it. So they turned around and was like, oh, okay, you know, the body actually gets rid of certain waste. If we mix it with certain chemicals, we wouldn't even know, and we can just sneak it in there, and it'll just, because they had no place to put it. So they started making toothpaste with fluoride. A lot of the stuff, you know, yellow 5, a lot of the stuff that's in our food and stuff, the government knows about it. That's why half the stuff is not in the food in other countries, right? All the colors, food, coloring, dye, red 40, all of that stuff, lowering sperm count, yellow 6, lowering sperm count. All this stuff has always been attacking our body.
To announce that Utah became the first state in the country the administration was trying to restrict this clothing.
I gotta skip that dude because he sound like he start crying after a while.
In your direction.
Look, like he just sound like he sound like he's whimpering and shit.
A testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So big. Think of that. So there was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000 to. Can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby. Please.
Well, Mr. President, one of your primary administration goals is to make sure that we unleash American energy, and of course the strategy behind that is when we do that, it helps make it more affordable for all Americans. Energy isn't just industry, it is the foundation of every other industry, whether it's food, manufacturing, clothing, transportation. And then also when we've got the ability to generate and not just be energy independent, but energy dominant, then we have the opportunity to sell energy to our friends and allies versus them buy it from our adversaries. And our adversaries were funding terrorism and conflicts against our allies by their oil and gas sales that were going through a Swiss cheese set of sanctions. So with your creation of the National Energy Dominance Council, over half the people at this table serve on that. Everyone has been engaged, whether it's interactions with negotiations with other countries, with putting sanctions in place that actually work, with cutting deregulation, working on biofuels, building infrastructure for transportation. There's a whole range of things that are being tackled. But when the outcome of all that is that the Biden administration was restricting supply, you're increasing supply. When you increase supply, then prices start to come down. And we have a huge opportunity to do this. Just in interior alone, there's 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface, and 2.5 billion acres of offshore. And the Biden administration was trying to restrict this so that you couldn't get a timber lease, you couldn't cut a tree, you couldn't graze a cow, you couldn't develop oil and gas minerals, and you couldn't develop the critical minerals we need for our technology, for our defense industries, and to be able to help us win the AI arms race against China. So we're opening up this, and with your executive orders and your work, we've on Tuesday, historic day, you ended the war on beautiful clean coal, which has been going on since Obama took office. China gets 60% of their electricity from coal. They're opening up they've opened up 94 gigawatts of coal in the last year as part of this AI arms race. 94 gigawatts, that's enough for 94 Denvers. To be able to, 1 gigawatt per metro area like that, it's unheard of. So we have an opportunity under your leadership to come back. The Gulf of America had its first offshore lease sale, which is scheduled for later this year, but that was, the industry loved that because we're now, the Gulf of America is now open for business again. And there's as much as 7 billion barrels of oil accessible now. They've increased the upside of what they think that is. On the coal front, the estimate is the financial value of the coal in America is $8 trillion. That was an asset on the balance sheet that we've now being put back on again. And of course in Alaska, with your separate executive orders to unleash Alaska energy between ANWR, the North Slope, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve Alaska, all of those we've reversed by decision. Those are all open for business again. And all of this is leading to the investment coming to America. The smart money is coming to the U.S. That's why we've got trillions of dollars of investment that is showing up at the door, because they know if they're going to do manufacturing here, there's going to be energy to power their plants. And so again, thank you for your leadership and thank you for everything you're doing.
Very good. Thank you. Martha.
Well, Mr. President, one of the most important things I believe you'll achieve in your presidency is reordering the world in a proper way. For 31 years, more than 31 years now, multiple administrations have allowed the Chinese to deindustrialize this country, to take away jobs and factories and the pillars of our national strength. And what you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world. And I want to congratulate you and your team that's working on that, because it has extraordinary geopolitical implications, as you see from all these other countries that are now coming here and wanting to join something that actually, it's crazy to allow these. I mean, basically, we lived in a world where Chinese companies can do whatever they want in America, but our companies cannot do anything over there unless they allow it, and even then they steal our stuff and reverse engineer it. So just reordering all of that has dramatic implications on peace and security of the world, so we thank you. An important meeting, thanks to you, is going to happen on Saturday for the first time in a long time. There'll be direct talks between Ambassador Woodcock and a top-level leader in Iran. We hope that'll lead to peace. We've been very clear what Iran is never going to have is a nuclear weapon, and I think that's what led to this meeting, and we'll wait for him to come back from it, and we're hopeful about that. I would also say that we are receiving, and I think the Department of Homeland Security can confirm this, historic cooperation from countries all over the world. Number one, in taking back their citizens. Every country in the world has to take back people that are illegally in another country. And we have countries that refuse to do it or will kind of ignore our calls. All of them are doing it. The ones that are not are paying a price. And we've also found cooperation in
Tariff.
other countries that are willing to take some very dangerous
That's what we're gonna do.
criminals.
We're gonna
President
put
El Salvador will be here
tariff
next week.
on
Has
everybody.
really been a good friend of the United States in that regard. These are some of the worst people you'll ever encounter, and Pam knows this, and Christy knows this from the work they're doing. And one last point I want to make, Mr.
Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm in the middle of cooking right now. Also.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we've put together a great cabinet, and we've had tremendous success. We've been given a lot of credit for having a very successful first month, and we want to make that many months and years, actually. But we're going to have many good months, and we're going to have many good years, I hope, and we're going to solve a lot of problems. We're doing very well with Russia, Ukraine. President Zelensky is going to be coming on Friday. That's now confirmed, and we're going to be signing an agreement, which will be a very big agreement. And I want to thank Howard and Scott for the job you guys did in putting it together. You really did an amazing job. And that'll be on rare earth and other things. And as you know, we're in for probably $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. And that's a big difference. So we're in for probably 3 times as much, and yet it's very important to have it.
Well, that has to be old, because we've seen that happen already.
Is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud and they went along with the javelins. I gave him the javelins. You know that, right? Or they stand on the top. But I'm gonna meet with President Putin and we're gonna see.
The right thing. You have to make sure that everyone stays on the same page and everyone supports presidential decisions. One decision I also want to call out, since we haven't spoken about it here, and I'm not sure we will, I want to commend you for as well, and commend your team, is the redesignation of base names for Army bases. In the summer of 2020, as a Jacobin fever swept the country during the BLM riots, it was decided to rename several Army bases. To be honest with you, I think most soldiers serving those bases didn't even know who they were named after. They just had fond recollections for decades of their time at Fort Benning or Fort Bragg or other places.
Fort Dang.
Now you've completed the effort to redesignate those names, those bases, to the names that so many generations of soldiers served at for new American heroes. Is that right?
Yes. A number of U.S. officials have claimed this is about stopping the drug flow out of Venezuela. But is that really what's going on? Some think that...
Senator Schmidt.
Sorry.
Senator Schmidt. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up on that, what critical infrastructure do you...
Robberies are down 40%. Motor vehicle thefts are down 32%.
She be lying.
And assaults with dangerous weapons are down 23%, and property crime is down 18%. These numbers prove the president's bold actions to make D.C. safe and beautiful again are working, just like he said they would.
Them numbers be lying.
The president took additional action.
Be real with us.
Executive order taking steps to ensure that cashless bail in Washington, D.C. is eliminated.
No.
For too long, D.C.'s reckless cashless bail policies have allowed dangerous criminals to be quickly released, which endangers everyone who lives in and visits our wonderful capital. No cash bail has also foolishly forced law enforcement to repeatedly arrest the same offenders over and over again, only for them to be released back into our nation's capital. This is the definition of insanity, and the president is seeking to end it. He also signed a separate executive order addressing the crime emergency in D.C. by instructing the National Park Service to hire additional United States Park Police officers to support public safety, and directing the U.S. Attorney's Office for D.C. to hire additional prosecutors to focus solely on violent and property crimes. So while liberal Democrats across the country continue to double down on their failed soft on crime approach, the American people including local DC leadership, business owners, and residents, are rallying behind President Trump's crime crackdown. According to new polling, 81% of Americans say crime is a major problem in large cities across the country. And a clear majority of Americans believe the president's actions are justified and necessary to reduce crime in these cities. Indu Bhatia, who runs a liquor store a half mile from the White House here just down the street, is one of those Americans who are grateful for President Trump's public safety push. Indu recently told the New York Post that her store was robbed so many times that they had to spend exorbitant sums of money on security, jeopardizing her family's financial future. But thanks to President Trump's strong action, Indu said, quote, "All of my employees, including me, we feel much safer, and even our customers feel really happy when they walk into our store." And just yesterday, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser credited President Trump for surging federal law enforcement personnel and said neighborhoods, quote, "feel and are much safer." We thank Mayor Bowser for her cooperation and her willingness to help us make DC safe and beautiful. This entire effort has vindicated what President Trump and law and order advocates have been saying for years, and this is our message to Americans in Democrat-run cities nationwide. Decline is a choice. You don't have to live in constant fear of being robbed, raped, or murdered. Your leaders are lying to you, and they have been failing you for decades. The President Trump approach of upholding law and order by letting our brave men and women in blue actually do their jobs to aggressively fight crime works. In just a few weeks, President Trump has done more for DC residents than Democrats did in 50 years. And this can be replicated in other crime-ridden cities across the nation. As President Trump has said, all of these elected officials in charge have to do is pick up the phone and ask for the president and the federal government's help. President Trump doesn't care
what I heard them saying.
Republican or a Democrat.
They're kicking ass and they're kicking ass great.
To be safe and for every law-abiding American citizen across the country to be
That's
able
why he
to
said
thrive
you
in their
hit
city and
or
in their community.
you spit, we
With
hit,
that, I'll take
whatever the fuck they
questions. Here in
said.
our new media seat today, we have social media influencer, content creator, Brandon Tatum. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you kick us off?
Caroline, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And on behalf of everybody that follow me, the millions of people that follow me, I want to say thank you for making the sacrifice and dealing with some of the most disingenuous people on planet Earth at times. I have two questions. The first question is associated with the shooting that occurred the other day. And I want to ask the question of, we know that it's not a gun thing. Any rational person knows it's not a gun thing. We know it's a mental health issue. So I want to know from you, what is President Trump and the White House going to do to address mental health issues around the country associated with these shootings? And the second thing is Chicago. You know, anybody with, and I say, with a connected brainstem knows that Chicago's crime is out of control. And young black men are getting killed, laying dead in the middle of the streets every single day in Chicago. No president has addressed any of these issues. And so what is the White House going to do to address issues in their capacity to deal with the conflict and violence in Chicago?
Sure. Well, to your first question about this shooting in Minnesota, right now, the administration is focused on helping the people of Minnesota. It's been less than a day, of course, since this tragedy happened. We have federal law enforcement on the ground assisting local law enforcement. This investigation is ongoing. There's still a lot of facts to understand about these circumstances. And so we're going to continue to do that. As for Chicago and cracking down on crime, it is a priority of this administration to ensure that American cities are safe again. And I'm so glad that you brought up the crime in Chicago, because we've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there. He doesn't need President Trump's help. Well, I think the residents of Chicago beg to differ, and the statistics beg to differ. And I'll just share a few of those statistics with all of you. For 13 consecutive years, Chicago has had the most murders of any U.S. city. This is J.B. Pritzker's legacy, by the way. For 7 consecutive years, Chicago has had the highest murder rate among U.S. cities with more than 1 million people. In 2024, just last year, Chicago's murder rate per capita was 3 times higher than Los Angeles and nearly 5 times higher than New York City. That's more than double the murder rate in Islamabad and nearly 15 times more than Delhi. Out of Chicago's 147,899 reported crimes this year, That's how many crimes have been reported in Chicago since January 1st. There have only been arrests in 16% of them. These numbers are unacceptable. There have been more illegal guns recovered in Chicago than in New York City and Los Angeles combined. The number of reported motor vehicle thefts last year was more than double the number in 2021. And Chicago has also, just like DC, come under scrutiny over discrepancies in its homicide data reporting. So as bad as these numbers are, perhaps they are even worse. And this is Governor Pritzker's legacy. He should put politics aside. He should pick up the phone and call this president, who would be more than happy to do right by law-abiding American residents in the city of Chicago, and we hope that he will. Gabe, and thanks for being here, Brandon. Gabe.
Thank you so much. First on the firing of the CDC director. First,
Sure.
who will replace her? And then also, overnight the White House said that she did not align with the president's agenda. Dr. Menard's attorneys say that she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fired dedicated health experts. What specifically did she do?
Look, what I will say about this individual is that her lawyer's statement made it abundantly clear themselves that she was not aligned with the president's mission to make America healthy again. And the secretary asked her to resign. She said she would, and then she said she wouldn't, so the president fired her, which he has every right to do. It was President Trump who
She
was
be backing up all the
reelected
bullshit, don't
on
she?
November 5th. This woman has never received a vote in her life, and the president has the authority to fire those who are not aligned with his mission. A new replacement will be announced by either the president or the secretary very soon. And the president and Secretary Kennedy are committed to restoring trust and transparency and credibility to the CDC by ensuring their leadership and their decisions are more public-facing, more accountable, strengthening our public health system, and restoring it to its core mission of protecting Americans from communicable diseases, investing in innovation to prevent, detect, and respond to future threats. That's the mission of the CDC, and we're going to make sure that folks that are in positions of leadership there are aligned with that mission.
Briefly on another topic, alligator Alcatraz. Last week, a judge.
Good afternoon. Good to see all of you. I want to begin today's briefing by addressing the horrific shooting that took place yesterday at the Annunciation Catholic Church.
Is this the one
And I
where
acted like I was so proud. As they said, we've had 0 murders in the last week. And some of these people were from foreign countries. They said, that doesn't sound so good. And I said, well, it doesn't sound good, but Washington was the most dangerous place in this country. And now, you know what? It's probably the safest place in our country. Everyone's starting to come here. The restaurants now you can't get in. Many of them closed because they couldn't open. Everybody before me is happy what I'm doing. Most of you won't say that because you're radical left. The newspapers are so dishonest, the press is totally dishonest, but that's all right, we've gotten used to it. And we won in a landslide, so they obviously lost their power. I mean, it's impossible to imagine that when you get 97% negative stories, purposely negative stories, even though you've done 97% positive things, that they could, that you could win an election in a landslide, winning all 7. Think of it, all 7 swing states, winning by the popular vote by millions of votes. We had it fantastic. The best this year, districts out of 3,000 districts, I guess we won 3,500. We won 2,750, and they won 500. And that's, to me, the best of all. And we had tremendous in every way the election. And it's hard to believe you can do that when you have a corrupt media. But many of you are corrupt, and there's nothing we can do about it. But we keep winning, and we're going to keep winning. And this whole story on crime is incredible that the Democrats wouldn't be with us. So the mayor of Chicago, I watched him this morning, he said, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He only apprehended 9 people. Well, number one, that's false. Literally, it's thousands. We'll get into that. But more importantly than anything, we took guns away. We have some of the worst career professionals out of the country already. They've been taken out of the country, and some are in solid confinement because these were killers. We arrested some very bad people. And in the last 11 days, again, I hate to say it because it sounds so ridiculous, but in the last 11 days, we've had no murders. And that's the first time that's taken place in years, actually years. We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered, your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered. See the media, you get murdered. Many of you have been mugged in Washington, you just don't want to talk about it. And I know that every time I do this with you, you almost everything, but every time I do this with you, people are saying to yourselves, he's right, and then you write a negative story. But we are doing an incredible job. The people behind me are amazing. We're working very well with the Washington police, as you know. The DC National Guard is unbelievable. We're also getting tremendous help from Secret Service. And we are at a point where Washington is booming again. People are pouring in like we haven't seen for years. Nobody wanted to come here. They didn't want to come here and get murdered. I have a friend of mine who is a very successful son. And I said, where is your son going to be this weekend? He said, he's going to Washington with his friends. I said, really? Yeah, he's wanted to do it for 4 years, but he couldn't do it because it was so unsafe. And he's a tough kid, too. Yeah, it's so unsafe. And he ended up staying 3 nights, going out to restaurants all 3 nights. He said it was so beautiful, so peaceful, because all the criminals are either arrested or they're hiding, and we're finding the ones that are hiding. So I want to thank Pam Bondi. I want to thank our Vice President. I want to thank everybody standing behind me, because they are really, Gaddy, you've been unbelievable, by the way. They have done an unbelievable job. They're working 24 hours a day. And Washington, D.C. is now in great shape. I'm going to be working with Clark Construction, which is by far your biggest construction company. And we're going to also beautify Washington. We're going to rip down the broken medians, fix them. We're going to put asphalt on the roads. We're not ripping them apart like these stupid people do. They rip a road. They rip a road down to the dirt, and then they spend 5 years in building the new one, and then it starts settling. The whole thing is serious. And they'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a road. I'll spend about $2, and it'll look better. So we're going to be replacing medians. We're going to be replacing much of the asphalt in the road, which is in the city, which is in bad shape. We have great stripers. We have great contractors. But we have to let them do the thing. The Congress has said that they'll give us whatever money is needed to fix up the Capitol. This is the Capitol. And we're not going to spend a lot. It's going to go fast. And it will be spotless. And we want it spotless for the World Cup and for the Olympics. You saw the World Cup was here the other day. And come to think of it, there's your trophy for the World Cup. In fact, it's solid gold. That's actually solid gold. So heavy that some of the people in this room wouldn't be able to lift it. I think what I'm going to do is place it right above the angel, right over there. That's solid gold, too. We're going to put it right up there.
That's how we roll, too.
It's a solid gold trophy. They know how to get to me. You know? I like the angel better, to be honest with you. So we're going to sign, and then we'll take a few questions, and we'll tell you how good a job we're doing. And we want to go from here to other places, but I was telling some of the people that in a certain way, you really want to be asked to go. You know, I hate to barge in on a city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians and bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzker. You know, spend more time in the gym, actually. This guy is a disaster. And Gavin Newsom's a disaster. When we saved Los Angeles, you wouldn't have been able to have the Olympics in Los Angeles. You're barely able to have it now. They did lose 25,000 houses to a fire that should have never occurred, because they didn't let the water come down from the Pacific Northwest, which you guys don't want to write about. I had to break into the water supply to let the water down. And even now, we want more. We can have much more. It's less than half of what should be coming in. I don't know, they have a political thing about it. It's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I don't like going to a town, city, place, a state, and then be criticized by some corrupt or incompetent governor where crime is rampant. Like, take a look at DC. Crime was rampant. It was at the all-time worst. It got really bad during the Biden 4 years. And then I have a mayor stand up and say how crime has reached a 30-year low. 30-year low. People are being killed left and right. And it's not a 30-year low. Think of it. So for 11 days, there have been no murders. The record goes back years where that's happened. They haven't seen that happen in years. And then people stand up, and instead of thanking us, which they should do, and she's not that bad. She's better than most. But, you know, you have people, I watched in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster what's going on in Chicago. And you get Pritzker, he's violating our rights. I think this is another men and women's sports thing. I think this is one of those, you know, they call them 80-20 issues. I call them 97-3. I think the Democrats better get smart. And, you know, politically, I hope they don't. But actually, in terms of love for the country, I hope they do, because it will be good to work together. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I have some slob like Pritzker criticizing us before we even go there, I made the statement that next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom, freedom. He's a dictator, he's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and a smart person. And when I see what's happening to our cities, and then you send in troops, instead of being praised, they're saying you're trying to take over the republic. These people are sick. But I'm really saying, and I say this to
y'all think he a dictator?
In a certain way, we should wait to be asked, because they have cities that are so under control.
Y'all think he a dictator?
So we go in and fix it. They take the full credit for it, and they go out and say, I heard it this morning. They're saying how well they've done over the last 10-day period, that they set record lows. They don't say they went there with very tough people, by the way. They have to pass a toughness test, otherwise they're not working.
He wants to be one?
So, and we're allowed to
Wanna
do
be?
that now according to the United States Supreme Court decision.
Not yet, but he
They
trying.
have to pass a toughness test. If they're not tough, we don't want
I
them.
absolutely love my
They
big
might be
brother,
great for
President
other
Donald
jobs,
Trump,
but not
and
for
his
this
entire
job,
team.
because they're respected. You saw the gang of kids that were all huddled up, and the group of soldiers walked up. They never even got over. Those kids ran back to their homes or wherever the hell they came from. They were gone. This is one of the safest cities right now in the world, as crazy as that sounds. And it took 7 days. It took really 3 days, but we're now in our 11th day. So I want to thank you. So we had all of these things, 439 illegal alien criminals have been removed, and we have 6 known gang members, some of the worst leaders of gangs anywhere in the country, MS-13 in Trinidad. With 2 missing children that have been recovered. They thought they were gone. We brought them back to the family. The family started crying. They couldn't believe that they saw their child again. 49 homeless encampments have been removed. Like we have the head of South Korea coming in a little while, the president, and he drives down the street. Already, his people have told me, he said, what happened? It's so clean. We always came here, it was filthy dirty with homeless and papers all over the road. That's the other thing. Those roads are swept, immaculate. But they're going to be much better in a few months when we put a topping on them. They're going to look like they're brand new. We'll get rid of those rusty old medians that have been crashed into 1,000 times, and they don't fix them. They just let them. They lay them down on the road, and they sit there for months. But we don't do that. We don't run things. We run things like we run this. We like clean, we like beautiful, and we like safe, and that's what we're getting. So I'll start signing the executive orders. To me, this is a very, very big deal. One of the executive orders has to do with cashless bail. That was when the big crime in this country started. And I can tell you who did it, when, but I don't want to do that because others followed pretty quickly. But that was when it happened. Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it.
That was when it happened.
Come back in a couple of months.
Happened very quickly.
You never see the person again. And I mean, they kill people and they get out. Cashless bail. They thought it was discriminatory to make people put up money because they just killed 3 people lying on the street. Any street, all over the country, cashless bail. We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C., and that we have the right to do through federalization. Okay, let's go. Could I ask you to say exactly what this is?
Of course. So, as you've consistently identified, sir, cashless bail policies are a key driver of the disorder we see on city streets all over America. Catch and release system allows criminals to keep going back out onto the street and reoffending. What this executive order does, it charges your attorney general with identifying jurisdictions all over the country that have cashless bail policies, and then it withholds or revokes federal funds and grants that are flowing to those jurisdictions to ensure that we're only supporting the people who have reasonable common sense policies around crime.
So what area does it cover?
Potentially anywhere that has a cashless bail policy, so some of the largest cities, some of the most left-wing states in America have adopted. Illinois would be a great example of that, sir.
Oh, they have a great cashless bail. You don't even have to go to court sometimes. Illinois, I love that state. It's a great state, but it's run so badly by Pritzker. They throw him out of the family business and he becomes governor. Now he wants to run for president. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, we'll sign right here, right?
Sir.
So important. And this isn't Republican, Democrat. This is, and by the way, most Democrats agree with this. But this is just, we got to bring our country back. Okay? That's a big one.
Also on the issue of cashless bail, sir, this is a DC-specific executive order. In addition to the measures that we're taking that are quite similar to what we're doing around the country, in DC in particular, the objective is holding as many criminal defendants in federal custody and subjecting them to federal charges as possible. That means that they'll be held pre-trial in federal jail as opposed to just being cut back out on the streets due to a cashless bail policy.
Okay? And by the way, the prison they have in DC is horrible. It's
Overcrowded.
horrible. People were subjected to live in that dog trap for so long, so unfairly. I have stories you'll be hearing about it. That prison is horrible. Okay?
This is an executive order that contains a number of additional measures relating to crime and law enforcement in Washington, D.C. It charges, for example, your Secretary of Defense with establishing specialized units in both the D.C. National Guard and the National Guard units around the country, specifically trained and equipped to deal with public order issues. It charges all of your various federal law enforcement agencies with hiring additional personnel to allow them to surge personnel to Washington, D.C. to deal with the current emergency here. It does a number of other things in that space, and it also asks the Attorney General to look at DC Metropolitan Police general orders that have currently impeded law enforcement efforts in the city, and to potentially look at unwinding those that are stopping the police from doing their job effectively.
And are we going to ask this to be codified by Congress, all of these things?
I think we could potentially, yes, sir.
I think so. I think we should. I think we'll get it. I think Democrats will vote. Well, it's hard to believe it might not, but I think Democrats will actually vote for this. There's no auto pen that can do that. Is that a good signature? Seriously, is that a good signature? Who can write like that? Nobody. I don't know. That's the other thing. I assume we're looking at the whole auto pen scandal.
Sir.
Because the person that ran it said he spoke to it briefly twice about nothing. That means that all those pardons that he gave to some very bad people, very unpatriotic people, very evil people, it looks to me like those pardons are worthless. Because number one, you shouldn't use an auto pen very specifically. But if you do, it has to be a very good reason. And they have to know that the president wanted it. The president didn't want this. The president didn't know he was alive, okay? He never approved any of this stuff. He wasn't for open borders and all the other things. He was never for open borders. I've known Biden a long time. He was never very sharp, but he was never in favor of open borders and all of the other things he did to destroy our country. Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your Attorney General.
Did you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech, but there's another reason, which is...
There's another reason. But wait, there's more.
When you burn a flag, is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. You can, but when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure, so what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating.
Kamala would have been
instances of
worse.
flag burning,
I
and
think
then
so
where
too.
There's evidence of criminal
Now
activity.
that I do agree with.
Where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language right. Incite to riot, and you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes in your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail.
Release the Epsteins. Hey, make sure y'all hit that like button, tap the screen, hit the like button. Y'all ain't finding another space playing Donald Trump and giving you commentary or pauses or music. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's get the likes up. Let's get at least 150 likes in here. And make sure y'all hit that arrow button and copy the link. Even if you don't share the live with nobody because you might not have no friends like me, at least just copy the link. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no friends, but I do got my son and my other son, and that's all I need is my kids. That like my friends, you know? So I forced them to do friend shit with me, like play the game and shit like that. They probably don't be wanting to play the game, but that's what friends for, to do the shit with you that other people don't do. So I make them play the game with me. You know what I'm talking about? Be smart. Be smart.
I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented. That was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved. And this group has a lot to do with it, right behind me. Does anybody behind me have anything? Pam, would you like to say something?
Sure, President. Thank you for keeping DC safe. You know, just a couple examples of a mother, a single mom, whose house was burglarized, and the defendant got out on cashless bail, went back the next night and burglarized her house again. That's why this is so important. A man got in a fight with another guy. He had a gun. He was let out. Next night, he got out, went back and killed him. So that's why it's so important, President, what you're doing. And thank you for protecting the American flag. And we'll do that without running afoul of the First Amendment as well. And President, I think I think Gadi Serralta had something he wanted to give you on behalf of all the law enforcement who are out there every single night.
Yes, thank you for putting me in charge of this surge. As the Director of the United States Marshal Service, it's the oldest law enforcement agency. It was created in 1789. So on behalf of all the federal law enforcement agencies that we're working with, and those that have yet to join the team, we thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. And this This badge comes with this little item right here, which is a handcuff key, Mr. President, because you continue through your policies and your efforts with your staff to unhandcuff law enforcement officers all over this nation. And I can tell you personally that they thank you for that.
Thank you. That's
You
beautiful.
can continue unhandcuffing law enforcement.
That's a very great honor. I'll save that and put it someplace up, which is important. Thank you very much. Good. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really nice. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Well, we love those people. They're brave and they love our country.
Not the handcuff key.
They don't want to see it. You know how many
Here,
people
take these
volunteer
handcuff keys.
for this job? And before I ask the VP to say a few words, because he feels very strongly about it, I think it's very important, Pam, that when we do this, that the state required, they come and ask us. I mean, I see Pritzker saying, we don't want them. In the meantime, the city is being shot to hell. And they do that politically. And they probably do want it. If we didn't go to Los Angeles, you would literally have had to call off the Olympics. It was so bad. And the sheriff and the law enforcement people, but the sheriff said, and he came out very strongly, he said, if we didn't have these people, we were not able to control it. Now, 4 days later, after we had it totally under control, we did that quickly. He changes to a little bit, well, I think we could have done it. They were dead. If we didn't send in the troops, Los Angeles was dead, the Olympics was gone, the World Cup was gone, everything was gone. We did a great job. And Newsom got he's an incompetent governor. But I think people should want us to be there, because otherwise all they'll do is complain as we do our job. So we'll have to think about that. And we go in, like in Washington, we go in and the people that are here that have been doing, I don't want to say terrible, because she happens, she's a nice woman, yes. I don't care about if she's nice, I really don't care. I want her to do, I'd rather have her be horrible, but do the job. But we come into Washington and we have the 11 best days they've had here in 2 centuries. I mean, they've never seen anything like it. Let's go 2 decades. In over 20 years, they haven't seen anything like what happened. And now they're out there saying, we don't have crime in Washington. Well, that's true. For 11 days, you don't have crime. But before that, everybody was getting hit and mugged, and you people could not walk to your office without security.
Not you people.
So I think we should really let them have their city, let their city go to hell, and when they come and beg us to help. The only problem is we want to save them for the big, because the people want us there. The people here, 95% of the people here want us. The real people, not the people you find on, I don't know where you find these people. You have one person that has a broken nose, where you get it? Well, I was mugged. Do you want to see Trump here with? No, I don't want. Woman has a broken nose. She got mugged. But she's saying she doesn't want any protection. It's all made up fake news. It's just fake news. I don't know where you find these people. Anyway, would you say a couple of words, please? And then I'm going to ask JD to say something. You have done an unbelievable job in a short period of time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Highly recommended by, you know who, right?
Yes, sir.
You want to say his name?
Mr. Youngkin. Governor Youngkin. Yes, sir.
We stole you from Governor.
He called me, Glenn Youngkin called, and he said, I have somebody who's really fantastic. And based on that recommendation, here you are. You've done a fantastic job. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The men and women of the Metropolitan Police Department are back. They enjoy doing their job again. They feel the ability to go out and be law enforcement officers. They feel that they're connected to their communities again. They are making a difference. Thanks to you, Mr. President, and our federal task force, you are making DC safe once again. Thank you, sir.
It's going to get better and better. Well, it can't get much better. There's no crime. I read where crime's down 89%. I said, really? Who are the 11%? Okay? There's no crime. JD, please.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks, Mr. President. Thanks to the incredible team here. You know, I want to echo something the President said, where you say there haven't been murders in a couple of weeks in D.C., and it doesn't sound good, but then you talk to local law enforcement, and I didn't realize this, that this town averaged 1 murder every other day for the last 20, 30 years, which means that in 2 short weeks, the president and the team have saved 6 or 7 lives, people who would have been killed on the streets of DC, who are now living, breathing, spending time with their families, because the president had the willpower to say, no more. We're not going to give the streets of DC over to vagrants.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Feel free to type stuff in the chat. Be respectful.
To ask us, because look at Governor Pritzker in Illinois.
We're going to be here another hour or so.
Los Angeles, or Governor Moore in Maryland.
Trump's doing a good job. Where y'all coming in from? What country, what state, what city?
Their crime under control than they are about the fact that murderers are running roughshod over their cities and have been for decades. Why are Democrat governors angrier?
Arizona, Phoenix, what's going on? Amazing leadership, love Trump, Jamaica. Okay, put that ganja in the air.
It shows a real sickness in the head. And I agree with the President of the United States. I think
Michigan,
those Democrats,
okay.
rank and file, nobody likes crime.
Yo, what's up? Columbus, Ohio in the house. Ohio over here. Yeah. Texas in the house. Jamaica in the house. Okay.
Doing everything in their power to make crime easier to do in their cities.
Texas in the house.
Sense to me, but Mr. President, I appreciate you being willing to help, and I hope these governors take you up on the offer, because we should clean up all of America's streets. It's the right of every American to live in safety and comfort in their community.
And we've got the people to do it. They're signing up like they've never signed up before. Our military, as you know, during the campaign, nobody was signing up. We were way short of their goals, we were understaffed. Nobody wanted to be in the military, nobody wanted to be a policeman, nobody wanted to be a fireman. They didn't want anything to do with the country. We had an incompetent, grossly incompetent president who frankly should not have been there. He should have never
Buckeyes,
been there. The damage he
Tennessee.
done, he did.
This
to
is
this
Frank.
country is incalculable. I mean, just what he has done, so much of our effort.
Israel's the
on getting
best.
murderers and jailbirds and people out of this country who are drug dealers at the highest level. So much of the energy of people that he led, it was an unforced error, but I don't think they think it's an error, but I don't believe he believed it. It was the radical lunatics that surrounded this guy at this desk, who are brilliant people, but with the wrong philosophy. Those are brilliant people, but they're evil people, and they're gonna be brought down. They have to be brought down, because they really hurt our country. But we're getting it back very quickly, and I'll tell you something, our country's now is stronger. I think we're more respected than we've been respected in 100 years. It's a whole different ballgame. JD, could I ask you, you gave a stat on murders here. What were the numbers? You said in a short period of time, how many people were murdered?
Local law enforcement told me, sir, that in the past 20 or 30 years, DC has averaged a murder every other day. That's, 200 murders a year, 150, 250, but about every other day a person has been killed on the streets of Washington, D.C. We've been doing this for 2 weeks. 0 people killed. That's real lives saved. That the media and frankly the entire Democratic Party should be saying, thank you for saving lives instead of attacking the President of the United States for doing so.
You know, when a person, unfortunately, it will probably happen at some point, when a person's murdered in D.C., it's going to be the biggest story maybe in history. Right?
Yes, sir.
Somebody was murdered in D.C., Trump is failing. No, we're not failing. We have a safe city. This is maybe the safest city in America right now. That's how good it is. And it would be nice to be appreciated. These people eventually, they're going to have to be appreciated for what they're doing. And they're going to have to be appreciated by the officials that are really happy when we go in because they've lost control of their place. Steve Miller, please, say your words.
Thank you, sir. So just to, first of all, follow up on what the Vice President said. No police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work with police for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. You check the records, no one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as you've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. Additionally, and the President spoke of this before, we've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in the city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. I've had a chance to spend some time, as has everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude, because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People have changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs. And the last thing I'll say is that under the efforts of Terry, to my left and many here, what they found also is that the street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels, the foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we are uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
Thank you very much, Chief. You know, in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills is a great place. I have a house there. I had a house there. I used to stay a lot of time, spend a lot of time there. And a great place. You know that I have friends, they leave their trunk open for their car because they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in their bag. They leave the doors open, so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, that they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open, so the criminals, when they go and open the door, they'll have to break the windows and kill the car in order to steal whatever it is in the car that they're looking for. And that's at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend, he has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars are, so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles this is taking place. And you know that, I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few words?
Sure. Well, Mr. President, I think one of the most impactful statistics that you used today is of the 1,000 arrests that have happened already so far. 430.
Y'all tap that screen and share that live. Let's get the 200 likes on the screen. 200 likes on the screen. Welcome for being here. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for being here.
And then they committed crimes.
Appreciate y'all.
So by getting those individuals
We will be gaming tonight too at 9 o'clock. We will be going over to TikTok and gaming.
Exactly like Stephen was talking, they have ties to cartels. They have networks across this country and other cities. So by what you're doing here is going to have a ripple effect in Miami, in Chicago, in other cities, because you're grabbing those networks and giving us information and targeting information to go and get more criminals across this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We have ICE and CBP, Federal Protective Services, Secret Service, HSI, all of our officers are working with all the other agencies every day here in DC, and they're so proud to have this kind of partnership. So they're so glad that you're letting them do their jobs again. And I don't know if you've heard, sir, but the recruitment campaign for ICE, we're going to hire 10,000 new officers.
There you go.
We've got over 130,000 people that have applied and raised their hands and said they want to work with ICE. So no matter what the fake news says or what the media says about ICE not having support, they've got incredible support from the American people. People want to join them and help them do what they're doing to make America safe again. So thank you for the
I was going to
opportunity.
say that our recruitment drive, so it was dead. During the campaign, they couldn't get, every story was the Army can't fill up, the Marines, none of them could fill up. They were way behind. We couldn't get anybody to go into the military, couldn't get any police. We've just set records on everybody wants to be in, everybody wants to go in. And we're taking incredible people. I mean, the level of, because of the Supreme Court, it's based on merit. It's all based on merit now. It's not based on anything else. You gotta, if you need strong people, you have to get strong people. It's all based on merit. But we're setting records in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard. One of my favorites, because I happen to have created it, Space Force. We're very proud of Space Force. It's amazing what it's doing. We're leading in space now. China was killing us. Russia was beating us. China is killing us, we're not killing China. We are leading in space by a lot because of Space Force. So we're very proud. But everybody wants to go in. We went from not, and you know how bad that is for the spirit when every story that you were writing a year ago was that nobody wants to go into the military anymore. And if you're in the military, you know how deflating that is? You go home to your family, nobody wants a job that you have. Well, now it's the opposite. Everybody wants to be there. And that includes police and fire and everything else. You're doing a good job. You're stopping a lot of wars. just the presidents we're stopping them. We've stopped 7 wars, and really the number is actually 10. We're not including a couple, and we're not including in there the what we did with Iran, stopping their nuclear play. They would have had within a month or 2, they would have had a nice big nuclear weapon to use. That's not going to happen. That won't happen. Pete, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for your leadership, and the Defense Department is proud to be a part of this task force. Just like we have been down at the southwest border, where crossings are at 0, we've got national defense areas where we're working with Border Patrol to secure the southern border for the American people. Just like Los Angeles, where ICE officers deserve to do their job without being attacked, we're really proud to be a part of defending the nation's capital, ensuring it's safe and beautiful, and working with law enforcement. And Mr. President, let me tell you, the morale of the troops, getting out there talking to them, they love this mission. They're grateful to be doing it, whether they're DC National Guard or other state National Guards. And at your direction as well, sir, it's just common sense to make sure they're armed as well. And so we're rolling out ensuring they're armed, capable of defending themselves and others if need be, supporting law enforcement, and we're proud to be there, sir.
Well, look at the mission you just accomplished with Iran. 36 hours back and forth, flawless. Every bomb hit its target. They went right down their chutes, dark at night, no moon, no nothing. Every target, every bomb went right down. They have a chute that goes right down deep into the mountain. And they shouldn't have put ventilation in, I can tell you, because we use that for our advantage. But what they did, and we had the pilots and even the people that took care of the planes, we had a whole group of people at the White House a couple of weeks ago. And you know, I didn't realize this, but they said, we've been looking at their predecessors, and then these were the pilots. They said, we gave them beautiful medals. And I'll show you the medal. Gave them a medal just like this. See? Just like that. They were so happy.
See?
For that.
See this medal right here, see?
52 tankers. People don't realize. So
see, we're giving out medals, see?
Many fighter jets.
You get this medal right here, see?
F-35s, many. It was an amazing operation. It was flawless. Compare that to the...
You want a medal, see?
With the helicopters crashing and everyone running around the desert and the prisoners being taken.
Show us your face. You want to see my face? One's in the chat.
This was the exact opposite of what they did in leaving a very, very nice place. The Taliban runs a tough operation in Afghanistan. And I think it was the most embarrassing
in the chat.
history of our country. That was Biden. I was leaving, and we would have left with strength, tremendous strength. We would have had tremendous, we would have kept Bagram, which is the air base, one of the largest runways in the world, one of the most powerful. You can land anything on it, many, many feet thick. You don't build them that way anymore. You can't. But we left it, and now China's occupying that air base. This was the most incompetent administration in history, the Biden administration. And you're just lucky that they lost, because if they won, you wouldn't have a country anymore. And so, Pete, you started off by saying the Department of Defense, and somehow it didn't sound good to me. You know, it didn't sound good. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? So it used to be called the Department of War, and it had a stronger sound. And as you know, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense with defenders. I don't know. If you people want to, standing behind me, if you take a little vote, if you want to change it back to what it was when we used to win wars all the time, that's okay with me. All right?
That's coming
You let me know if you want to do it. I think Department of War. It just sounded bad. He said, sir, on behalf of the Department of Defense. Defense? I don't want to be defense only. We want defense, but we want offense too, if that's okay. So you'll make a decision. But you know, as Department of War, we won.
We're changing it.
Everything.
We're changing it, the Department of War.
And I think we're going to have to go back to that. In the meantime, I've stopped all of these wars. I've stopped them. A big one would have been India and Pakistan, but we stopped them all. We stopped 3 wars. Go to Africa. They like to say, oh, you know, I love black people. And I did great with the vote with the black people. But they say, he's a racist, he's a racist. I said, really? For 35 years, a war raged between Rwanda and the Republic of the Congo. And it was a vicious war. 9 million people were killed with machetes largely, hatchets, machetes. That went on for more than 30 years, but 34, 35 years. And I stopped it. In fact, the presidents are coming in a week or two to sign. We have the foreign ministers, it's all signed, the war stopped. But I got it stopped and saved a lot of lives. The Congo, it's deep into deepest, darkest Africa. I got that war stopped. Nobody else could have done that. We did a lot of jobs. We did a lot of wars were stopped that nobody thought would even be possible. And I'll tell you what, the war with India and Pakistan, that was the next level. That was going to be a nuclear war. They already shot down 7 jets. That was raging. And I said, you guys want to do trade? We're not doing any trade. We're not doing anything with you if you keep fighting. You got 24 hours to settle it. They said, well, there's no more war going. And I used that on numerous occasions. Trade, I used whatever you had to use. But we got 7 of them stopped. And the one I thought would be easiest, frankly, was going to be Russia and Ukraine. But that turns out to be some big personality conflicts. It's one of those things. But we're going to get that stopped eventually. We're going to get that stopped too. 7,000 soldiers died last week. Think of that, 7,000. I usually say 5,000, but 7,221 soldiers died last week in the fight between Ukraine and Russia. And they're not our soldiers, but they're souls. They're living souls, and they leave their homes, and they wave to their parents, and their parents are so proud that they leave in a beautiful uniform, and a week later they get their head blown off by a drone. New form of military. It's a whole new form of fighting. So I would just like to thank the people that are behind me. Thank you very much.
My fault. My fault, y'all. Every time I turn the chair, it hits the.
You're doing a real job.
My fault.
And I'm so proud of DC. I passed it 2 days ago, and all the garbage is off the streets.
The garbage.
Terrible. I came in a month and a half ago. I'm driving down, and I see garbage all over the place. The streets were a pigsty. Like I won't use the city's names, but you know what I'm talking about. There are plenty of them. Well, thank you very much. Please sit down. Please, thank you. Members of the United States.
Unquote, Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's
Everybody, but Europe's very close. We have a big ocean separating us, so it's very important for Europe, and they hopefully will step up and do. So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion.
Y'all remember this?
Gaza and everything else.
They ain't cool no more now.
We had
Him and Eli not cool no more now.
12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens.
We are now going to go out to 40 procurement, HR.
Buddy, I was checking on the border, and they said there was literally nobody in this massive plaza. You know, we're talking.
Putin, I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting.
Or to have it with the final.
Oh, yes. Look, it takes 2 to tango. You understand that. I wanted to have a meeting with those 2. I could have been at the meeting, but a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But we're going to see. In the meantime, people continue to die.
but I've solved 7 of them where they were in wars for 31, 35, and 37 years. We had 3 of them that were for more than 30 years, Johnny, and I got them solved. And we solved one that could have been a nuclear war with India and Pakistan. That was getting ready to be a nuclear war. I solved them all. And this one, I thought we would have had it done by now, but it's more different. There's a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. There's a tremendous amount of hatred there. So, but we'll see what happens. I think in 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going. Because I'm going to go one way or the other. And they'll learn which way I'm going.
Mr. President, if I've got 2 questions for you. One on FIFA, the other one on DC. Let's talk. Can you talk about the economic impact that FIFA will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. You know, it's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor's incompetent. You know, Gavin. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of bullshit, and he doesn't get the job done. And frankly, those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it, the federal government that has the most complex part, it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it, everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I used every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably almost anybody. And it's great. It's fine. It's wonderful.
You do not know more about low-income housing than anybody.
States, you don't build it there, and you don't build it in the other areas that burned down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses, and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor.
And I know low-income housing. That's all I know.
And let me tell you, if I didn't send in the troops in Los Angeles, Johnny wouldn't be in Los Angeles. You wouldn't be having your World Cup there. I sent in the troops, and we kept it. And even the police commissioner, the sheriff, and the police commissioner, they all said the same thing. They said, we could have never handled what was happening. You saw that, you were there. He said, we could have never handled what was happening. And then you hear Gavin Newsom, after it's all quelled, you hear Newsom get up and say, we could have done this for ourselves. No, they couldn't have. And if they could have, I wouldn't have taken the chance either.
Okay, my second question is on crime prevention. Would you be open to expanding the national concealed carry to apply to DC like it does in other states like Texas?
Yeah. Well, they have it in some states and they feel strongly about it. As you know, I'm in favor of it. People have to protect themselves. I'm a Second Amendment person, very simply. People have to be able to protect themselves. Especially like in Washington, you walk down the street, a guy comes up and slugs you. He's got a pistol in his hand. You can be tough, you can be in great shape, you can be a powerful person, or you can be a guy that weighs 100 pounds with a gun in your hand. And I'll bet on the guy with a gun 100% of the time, right? And so you need protection. So I'm a Second Amendment person all the way. Yeah, please.
President Trump, you said this morning that you were working with Congress to get $2 billion to help clean up DC. Have you had any conversations with Mike Johnson and John Thune about where they're going to get that money from?
Which money?
You said this morning that you're going to get $2 billion from Congress to help clean up DC.
Yeah, I've spoken to Mike Johnson. I've spoken to John Thune, the Senate, the House. And I think it's going to be very easy to get. It's going to be not a lot of money. I wouldn't even know where to spend the number that you mentioned, but it's going to be money to beautify the city. Yeah, they're ready. Everybody wants to save DC. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country, actually, by far. It may have been more than any other city in the world, if you could think. We looked at some of the worst cities in the world, it was worse. And that's why it angers me to see the mayor saying about how they have it on the slide. Not on the slide, it was worse than ever. Yeah, we have no problem getting that money. That money will come out of Congress. I think it'll be even bipartisan.
And is the plan?
I mean, I would imagine Democrats would vote for that one.
Is the plan to get it before the September 30 spending deadline on the Hill?
Uglier than Lincoln was. Why are you judging how Lincoln looked?
Because if I declare a national emergency, which this was, that ends the deadline. So, I mean, I keep seeing about a 30-day deadline, of which we have 22 days left or something. But if I think we're in great shape here, that's one thing. But if I don't, I'm going to just say it's a national emergency. And if I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops there as long as
Well, I mean,
want.
Lincoln had wooden teeth in his mouth.
And 30 days, you know, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time. You've got to train people. You can't do this. You can't pop people over the head. And a lot of those people are in courts right now, going to court. They're going to go to jail for a long time. So that's going to take more than 30 days. But if I have to, I'll declare a national emergency, which I don't think I'll have to do. Yeah.
Mr. President,
I mean, there's no doubt whether Three-Eye Atlas is coming or not.
The attitude of Russia and, frankly, of Ukraine.
It's definitely coming.
what are the 2 ways you can go at the end of 2 weeks then?
Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do.
Or
And it's going to be a very important decision. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say it's your fight? Look, I would have never been in this war if I were president. You wouldn't have had this war. It was never going to happen. This was caused by stupid people that fought. And you know, people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years, it was never even a subject. And Vladimir knew, and you see his picture right here, it was nice to
Are
be
you?
said, but Vladimir knew
Well, I mean,
very strongly.
you know, take it
He
easy.
wouldn't have stood for it.
Take it
It
easy.
wouldn't have happened.
Take it easy on
100%
that.
wouldn't have happened, but it did
You want to
happen.
get yourself a
And
headache.
now they're losing from 5 to 7 young kids. Think of it, you're a parent and your son is leaving. He's Russian or he's Ukrainian. And he's leaving and they're waving goodbye. Nice, beautiful kid. Nice crew cut, all set. He wants to be a soldier. And he goes there first week, he has his head blown off. And he's no different than you people, me. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, I solved a problem in the Congo that was vicious. Rwanda and the Congo.
Tap
the
that screen. Let's try to
Republic
get
of
the
Congo.
200 likes.
And they were fighting for 31 years, and it was machetes. People were getting their heads chopped off. That was going on for 31 years. I got it solved. You saw it. They came to the White House and we signed an agreement. It was amazing. People can't believe we got it done. I love to stop killing. I really do. People thought it would be just the opposite. Hillary Clinton said, oh, he'll get us into a war. No, I'm getting everybody else out of wars.
Are you saying there's a real possibility then that you do nothing if Putin doesn't come to the table for a ceasefire?
I'll see whose fault it is. If there are reasons why, I'll understand that. I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to see whether or not they have a meeting. That'll be interesting to see. And if they don't, why didn't they have a meeting? Because I told them to have a meeting. But I'll know in 2 weeks what I'm going to do. I have pretty good ideas.
Your Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. People, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. That's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency, and the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly. You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean, but I don't want to hurt Larry Summers, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history. What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. I mean, just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with from where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that.
I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say
How
it.
high is it going to go? You know, I had the strongest economy in the history.
I mean, I don't want to tell you how great I am, but let me tell you how great I
The
am.
strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to
I
blow it away.
wanna fly,
And we're gonna make a lot
can
of
you
money.
take
And,
me
whether it was for myself or
to a
whether I like
place?
doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe, nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're gonna buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy there. And they're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had a great, and people said they've never seen anything like it. Well, we had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement. But people aren't ripping us anymore. We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
So, President, in Israel. Two questions. One is about Intel. There's been reports that you're considering taking a stake in Intel. Can you tell us
About the 10%?
About the 10%.
Yeah, I met a man, he was a very nice man, and I called for his removal because I saw something by a man named Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas, who's a great guy, friend of mine, supporter of mine, big supporter, I'm a supporter of his too. And he wrote a pretty nasty story about the head of Intel. And I said, well, if that's right, he should resign. And he came in, he saw me, we talked for a while. I liked him a lot, I thought he was very good. I thought he was somewhat a victim, but you know, nobody's a total victim, I guess. And I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel has been left behind, as you know, compared to Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, some of the people and the people in, because Intel should have never been. Intel was the biggest, most powerful chip company in the world. And then they started leaving. And they started going to foreign countries, in particular Taiwan. And if we had a president that would have said, okay, you can go to Taiwan, but we're going to put a 100% tariff or 200 or 300 or 500% tariff, anybody that sells into the United States has to pay. They wouldn't have left. They would have never left, and we wouldn't have. So in the meantime, we had people that were, in some cases, good politicians that weren't good on trade. I loved that man, but he was not good on trade. I totally disagreed. He allowed the car industry to be taken out of this country. We lost 50% of our car industry. But that's all coming back. It's all coming back. But if somebody would have said that with Intel, would be a giant right now. Now with that, they've had some bad management over the years, and they got lost. And I said, I think you should pay us 10% of your company. And they said, yes. That's about $10 billion. For the, I don't get it. This comes to the United States of America. And I said,
No, we don't get it. You lying.
The United States is your partner. He agreed.
We don't
They
get
agreed
it.
to do it, and I think it's a great deal for them. And I think it's a great deal. He walked in wanting to keep his job, and he ended up giving us $10 billion for the United States. So we picked up $10 billion. And we do a lot of deals like that. I'll do more of them. If somebody has, like we have restrictive covenants with Jensen. We have, it's NVIDIA. And to unrestrict the covenant, nothing to do with losing our powers or military or anything, because that I wouldn't do. But there are things you can do that don't affect us, that actually help us. And if we're going to give somebody a free out, a restricted covenant, we have a strong restrictive covenant on certain industries. And I will absolutely give somebody a opening on a restrict to do a lot of business, which is good for us, as long as it doesn't hurt us in a security or military way. And if I do that, I think the country should be paid, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody.
That means he's
and
selling
I'll
our
have
defenses.
a restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
You said Chicago might be next. Are you making, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking
No,
to do that? Or what are other cities as well?
I haven't spoken to him. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to the mayor. No, when we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out Chicago, just like we did DC. Chicago's very dangerous.
Yeah, we're live.
Place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago
Yeah,
was a
see,
great
look,
city,
live.
actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants and very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago, I think they had their main office in Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco are the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, you know, it's just different. We can clean that up too. We'll clean that one up too. Now, if everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here, because they've lost control of their cities. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally, and we'd love you to come here, because we'll straighten out the problem.
In Israel, the families of hostages in Israel, the families of hostages are opposed to the reoccupying of Gaza. Why is the U.S. still
Well, not all of them. And you have to understand, I'm the one that got all of the hostages out. You got a lot of people out. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out. I worked with Bibi and I worked with Steve Witkoff. But if it wasn't for me, you would have all these hostages would most likely be dead right now, every one of them. So they all come up here. They all come in groups of 10, 12, 13, and many of them. And I've gotten to know a lot of them. They're great people. What they had to go through is incredible. But so now they have 20, but the 20 is actually probably not 20 because a couple maybe aren't around any longer. It's a terrible thing. No, I don't like anymore. I said, you know, when you get down to 20, they're not going to make deals anymore. And they didn't. And then I put out a statement, as you know, that was a tough statement, go in and get them. And they said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you 10. I don't know what Israel's doing, but they were willing now immediately to give us another 10. The situation has to end. It's extortion and it has to end. And we'll see what happens. I actually think they're safer in many ways if you went in and you really went in fast and you did it. And people can't forget October 7th, remember that. I'm friendly with all groups. I won the Arab vote in Michigan. I did so great with the Arab vote, remember? I started off at 0, I ended up winning. I wouldn't say the candidate was the greatest, but I would have won against anybody. They're great people. But we have to do things properly. And, you know, I'm very proud to say I got the hostages out. You have hundreds of people that are living.
Did he say Caledonian?
And now we have that final little group of people. And Hamas knows that if they give them, that's probably the end of their lives. So it's not easy to get. And I know if you're a parent, you just don't care. You want, I want my baby back. They want their babies back. They want their kids back. And I understand it. But I got them out and did a good job. And we're doing everything we can to get the hostages out. Thank you all very much. Yes?
So Jackson Hole, Jay Powell today said, he suggested that they might cut interest rates, but they haven't proceeded.
Well, we call him too late for a reason. He should have cut him a year ago. He's too late. You know, we have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I go out there and I'll see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country is better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that was so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day, the most, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is a time to invade. It's, this is a time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that, it was off to the races, right? When he said he can do a small incursion, remember that? I was surprised he knew the word incursion. I didn't think he had that good of a vocabulary. I want to thank everybody. It's very important to me and to everybody up here, the World Cup. And Johnny has been so incredible. I mean, he's really a great leader. I mean, to think, I said, Johnny, do it by phone. You don't have to come. No, he said, I'll come. And he flew all night long to be here and listen to this about how great we're doing in D.C. But he's a fantastic leader, and this will be your most successful World Cup ever. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much. Yeah, can we win it, Mr. President?
I don't know. I watched some of those teams go, they go down that field, I don't know. But let me ask you, what chance does America have of winning?
Well, the home team always has a good chance to win. It depends how it starts. No, but there's some good players. Of course. Of course, you have a chance.
Will Bears be going to any of the games, Mr. President?
I'd love to have him. He'd love to. He's very tall. Maybe we could make him a goalie. The goalies are very tall now, right?
The goalies are very tall.
The goalies, well, he'd be a perfect goalie.
100%.
At his height, he'll be a great goalie.
Exactly.
So we'll put him with the Americans. No, but do the Americans have a chance of, like, getting into the quarterfinals?
Yes, definitely. No, the quarterfinal, definitely. But then, you know, as the tournament goes on with the public 250 years of the United States, let's not forget, they will all feel energized about that.
You know, it's amazing. The talent is really great when you watch these things. I went to the game 2 weeks ago, and it was a big upset. But you look at these people, the way they pass it. It's amazing, really amazing. It's a great art, right? It's a great talent.
It is incredible.
You know the expression. This what?
Will you draw the names?
I don't know. He's the boss.
That's an interesting proposal.
He's the boss.
We'll discuss that.
It's going to be great. And I think the American team is going to do well. I mean, I hear it's a very good team. Good luck, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Keep a lot of those.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
No, just
Thank you. You guys, we're done. We're done. Thank you.
It was a nice program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Andre this way. Everybody forward this way.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, we're going to go over to TikTok and play the game. We are going to go over to TikTok and play the game. I hope you guys come over. Atlas Gaming 111 on TikTok.
In Minneapolis,
If
Minnesota.
not, it's been
Where
great
a deranged
keeping up with Trump with you guys.
Just
We're
more
going to
companies.
further keep up.
And
Of course, this is the weekend. So over the weekend and Monday, since it's Labor Day, we are going to go over some of the other things Trump. So make sure you tune in with us tomorrow, where we'll be playing the recordings from the Epstein and so on and so forth. We'll dig back into Trump's past and bring up old conversations. You know, the ones where he said, grab women by the pussies. You know, those type conversations. So we should have a blast tomorrow at going through all things Trump and combing through that. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. Hey, love is love. Namaste, Ashe, salutations. And if nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first and not the last to tell you that I love you. And we didn't reach our goal of 200 likes, but at least we had a lot of people come through the live today. And hopefully we have a lot of people come through the live tomorrow. We'll try to get some more mods, and we'll try to do a little bit more, commentary tomorrow, kind of like we did earlier today. Love is love. Namaste. Ashe. You guys have been great, always will be great, and always was great. So continue to be great. There is no me without you.